The global economy runs on one currency, the US dollar. Every day, trillions of dollars move across borders. Oil is priced in it. Trade is settled in it. Debt is issued in it. But here's the real question. Why? Why does the entire world depend on one country's currency? And more importantly, what happens if that changes? This is where it gets interesting, because the dollar's dominance was never guaranteed. It was built, and it is constantly being challenged. By the end of this video, you'll understand why the US dollar still dominates, what gives it power, and what could eventually replace it. But first, we need to go back to where it all began. This is where everything starts. After World War II, the global economy was broken. Europe was destroyed. Japan was devastated. And the United States was the strongest economy left standing. This is where the system was created. In Bretton Woods, a new global financial order. Currencies were linked to the US dollar, and the dollar was linked to gold. This made the dollar the center of the global system, because it was seen as stable, reliable, backed by real value. But then something changed. In 1971, the US ended the gold standard. The dollar was no longer backed by gold. This could have ended its dominance, but it didn't. This is what nobody expects. Instead of collapsing, the dollar became even stronger. Why? Because of something called the petrodollar system. Oil, the most important commodity in the world, was priced in dollars. That meant if you wanted to buy oil, you needed dollars. And if every country needs oil, every country needs dollars. This is where the system locked in. Now, the dollar wasn't just a currency. It became a global necessity. This is where its real power comes from. Let's break it down. Why the dollar dominates. First, global trade. A huge percentage of global trade is settled in dollars. Even between countries that are not the US. This is what makes it powerful. The dollar is not just America's currency, it is the world's currency. Second, reserve currency. Central banks around the world hold dollars as reserves. Why? Because they trust it. It is liquid, stable, widely accepted. This creates demand, even when the US is not directly involved. Third, financial markets. The US has the largest and most liquid financial markets in the world. Treasury bonds, stock markets, debt markets. Investors trust these systems. And where money flows, power follows. Fourth, military and political power. This is where it gets deeper. Economic power is backed by geopolitical power. The US has global influence, military reach, strategic alliances. This reinforces confidence in the dollar, because stability is not just economic, it is political. Now here's where things get interesting, because despite all this, the system is under pressure. This is what nobody is talking about. The dollar is still dominant, but cracks are starting to appear. The challenge to the dollar. First, debt. The US has massive debt. Trillions of dollars. This raises questions about long-term stability. Second, sanctions. The US uses the dollar system as a tool of power. Countries that are cut off from dollar systems face economic pressure. This creates incentives to find alternatives. Third, China's rise. China is the world's second largest economy, and it wants more influence over the global system. It promotes the yuan, builds alternative trade networks, creates new financial systems. This is where the competition grows. Fourth, decoupling countries are reducing dependence on the US-led system. This is slow, but it is happening. Now the big question: what could replace the dollar? Possible alternatives. First, the Chinese yuan. China is pushing its currency globally. But there's a problem. The yuan is not fully trusted, not fully open, not fully liquid. Second, a multi-currency system. Instead of one dominant currency, multiple currencies share power. This reduces dependence, but increases complexity. Third, Digital currencies, central bank digital currencies, or even decentralized systems. This is still evolving, but could reshape finance. Fourth, gold or commodity-backed systems. Some countries want stability outside fiat currencies, but scaling this globally is difficult. This is where reality sets in. Replacing the dollar is not easy, because dominance is not just about currency, it's about the entire system behind it. Trade, finance, trust, power, all connected. Now imagine this. The dollar weakens, but nothing fully replaces it. Instead, the world becomes fragmented. Multiple systems, competing for dominance. This is where the future may be heading, and this has consequences. Less efficiency, more volatility, higher costs, because the global system becomes less unified. This is where everything connects. Currency, trade, geopolitics, power, all part of the same system. If you want to understand how this system can break, watch my video on global choke points. If you want to understand the power struggle behind this, watch the hidden economic war between the US and China, because the future of the dollar is tied to global power shifts. Subscribe to Atlas Economics, because those who understand the system will always stay ahead.